Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of King's Quest 2. This is the AGD Interactive remake. You can download this game for free on the AGD Interactive website. There is a link in the YouTube description here. So I'm actually going to restore my game from here because one thing I noticed last time is that I missed a point. There's no like little sound notification when you get a point here, and I didn't realize it until later, but I missed one. So
to give you my crown would signify a change of leadership, so says the law of this land. It also says that the crown is to be worn only by those with the highest regard and intent for Daventry. So, to give it to such a vile being as you would betray the honor and memory of all the past kings who have worn it. No, I will not do it.
Attaboy.
Not even for the sake of your family?
There are some principles for which even one's family must be sacrificed.
The man appraises you as a scientist would a unique specimen.
What an intriguing set of morals you have, King Graham. I almost look forward to the time when you will put aside your obligations here and seek me out. I have foreseen that we shall meet again.
Behold your third test.
Once again, you feel yourself age. You are many years older now, though still, thankfully, King of Daventry. As before, the knowledge of the previous test ebbs from your mind.
How do you feel?
I am deeply honored, sire.
All right. Now, how do you really feel?
Scared out of my wits, sire.
You smile and feel the lines in your face stretch.
You know what they've been saying about my decision, that is.
The people question my ability to perform the duties when I have another higher obligation.
You do not deny that this obligation may arise at any moment.
Of course not, sir.
And there is the matter of you not being of royal birth. That
we finished this up in the last one, so
with some of the nobles.
The qualities of truth, light, and order can shine from even the most impoverished of souls. Nobility is defined through one's actions, not one's lineage, Your Majesty.
You cannot help but smirk.
So this is Connor from King's Quest 8. A nice little Easter egg. The madness, what is that? Of course, let's knight him.
Kneel. Your sword. By virtue of your bravery, loyalty, and good conscience, I have chosen you to be my first knight. Thus you are my successor and heir to this throne. Arise, Sir Connor of Daventry.
In an instant, you find yourself standing before the Cloud Spirit once more. You also notice that it is starting to get dark.
You have demonstrated your sound understanding of compassion, honor, and loyalty. These attributes transcend the mind and speak of the soul within you. Growth continues unabated throughout the lives of all living things. You have grown much, learnt a great deal, and will continue to grow in all ways. You are judged worthy of the Heir and Growth Gem.
Rock and roll. Let's get that baby.
You take the Growth Gem. As you feel the knowledge of the last test fade from your mind, the cloud beneath your feet begins to evaporate. You'd better get out of here quickly, Graham. Finally, your flight comes to an end. You hope that it will be quite a while before you take to the air again.
Where would you like me to land?
On the ground would be fine.
Right. Like, right down there. I'm gonna have to replay the originals too. These are
Take
quite
this
different.
sugar cube. It will protect against the poisonous growth of this land. Fare thee well.
Bye bye, flying horse.
You notice you have lost a few things during your descent, mostly all that paper you were carrying. You are not concerned, though, as long as you don't get into trouble for littering. As dusk sets in and the pallid moon rises above the darkened horizon, you recall the Door of Destiny's words regarding the third gem, through swampy mire, in lone dark castle. Then you remember the great Neptune's disquiet reluctance to speak of Kolyma's lord. You sense a growing unease that this final gem may not be the easiest to acquire.
All right. So we're going to go to Castlevania here. Oh, it's misty.
It is likely that this haystack was piled here. The haystack, or rather whoever or whatever is inside it, is no longer responsive to your inquiries.
Look, the town is all closed up. It's like Quest for Glory.
The gates to town have been shut for the night. The gates...
Okay.
It is a large sheet of cloth. It has...
Here. This might help your sneezing.
Oh, thanks. Here, you can have this back now.
Thank you.
You retrieve the partially used cloth from the haystack.
Feel better?
Yeah, it's so good to be able to
A shiny silver needle lays on the ground near the haystack. You take the silver needle. It is a large sheet of slightly unhygienic, yet still potentially usable cloth.
Slightly. That's gross. All right.
It is a tiny silver needle. It reminds you of a dart. It looks like a normal sugar cube. It does have a bit of sparkle, though. It is a slightly luminescent green stone about the size of your palm.
All right. Of course, so the church that was closed all day long keeps very weird hours, and it was open at night. So let's go check that out.
Finding the door unlocked and unbarred, you enter the church.
Interesting.
A hideous statue of a grinning fiend forms an archway leading to the church's outdoor cemetery. The symbol of the faith is displayed prominently in the church. The monk is dressed in a simple ankle-length robe. A belt of thick leather is tied around his ample waist. He wears worn sandals. You notice a Bible on the end of a pew. You look over the Bible, which appears to be many decades old. You open it and find that an otherwise blank page at the front has been written on. It is dated over 20 years ago.
To all those who have heard the word, we are the chosen few, blessed by the spirits of the wild, destined for greatness, concealed by the cloth. There is but one challenge we must overcome before our future can be set in stone. The simple people of Kolyma cling still to the memory of their former ruler. Even now, years after his fate's dark turn, they retain their hope that he will not forsake them. As long as this is so, our goal cannot be attained. So, my brothers, it is our duty to see the land cleansed of its blight.
You return the Bible to where you found it. You also notice that a page from the Bible has fallen onto the floor.
Okay, let's take it.
You pick up the fallen page and read it. The words appear to have been written recently. Something wicked started war. Shame nobody ever saw.
I wanted to finish this passage.
You look over the Bible.
So, my brothers, it is our duty to see this land cleansed of its blight. Do not fear our enemy. Our faith, our purpose, and power will guide us to the future we were promised. A path has been found to him, O brothers. Let him hear the warning howls. The cloth will be lifted for all time, and our songs will echo the end of him, his influence, and his family. Our time is at hand, lone wolf. Okay.
You return the Bible.
Let's look at this passage, the paper that fell out.
You read the Bible page again. Something wicked started war. Shame nobody ever saw.
Okie dokie.
The monk is in deep prayer and does not respond to your words. You have no inclination to do anything with the crucifix. There is no As simple as it looks, you've never been able to extinguish candle flames with your fingertips. Rarlap Neven, 985 to 1015. The jester joked his life away until a quip he made one day. Insulted was a baron's son who had this poor old jester hung. Lester Williamson, 1300 to 1345. Here lies a man who feared all bugs, too scared to even lift his rugs. For if he had, he would have found insects that make little sound, with bites so deadly for their size that surely did cause his demise.
How many are there?
Rebecca Twintle, 1250 to 1273. In that usual daring way of hers, she threw caution to the wind. Late one eve she risked a venture and went out to sea with him. Totally in love she was, so filled with careless whim, that when he threw her overboard, she never thought to swim. Goulash Thompson, 1370 to 1441. Never in all his living years had he ever seen such sights. For hours did he stare at them, those beautiful, dazzling lights. So happy was he that he had been able to live to see this night. But down a cliff he blindly fell, for the lights had been too bright. You've never been terribly fond of gargoyles, and this one isn't likely to sway your opinion. Larman Odnarb, 1175 to 1200. Dear old Larman was a healer, cured many a deadly fever. One he caught that bitter day, healed not himself and passed away.
These are good.
Lyot O'Maleef, 1200 to 1256. She was a lady with strange habits, who as friends kept only rabbits. When time came her hunger due, her friends all wound up in her stew. The other creatures, also bunnies, found this not remotely funny, so their swift revenge they sought. The kitchen in her sleep they brought, heaved her into the large pot, which was, regretfully, much too hot.
All right.
It is likely that only the most devout believers have been buried in there. It is likely you have about as much an inkling to enter the crypt as a fish has to walk.
But we always go in the crypt in an adventure game. Why am I here if...
You don't think random poking around will help you here. Show some respect for the deceased, Graham.
Well, is this just here as a bunch of Easter eggs, these silly tombstones?
This is the church cemetery. Given how many souls have been laid to rest over the many years, you imagine this place has seen its share of sorrow. This is the Coco Airbul, 1205 to 1252. The writer wrote until he bled. In his final agony he said, I will not lift my trusty pen till I at last have reached the end.
Okay, these are cute, but I could spend all day here. So let's just leave. If I can't go in here, which I guess I don't need to, then let's just go.
How ingenious! A chimney protrudes from the trunk of the tree.
In the original, you could sneak in and, like, if he caught you and stole your stuff, you could sneak in and steal it back.
You rap on the treehouse door and wait a moment, but get no response.
But I don't know if that's a thing in this remake, so... But everything is different at nighttime sometimes, so it's kind of fun to look around. I know where we need to go. I just don't know that we want to go there quite yet. So we need the third crystal is kind of the objective. Oh, can we look in the window?
You can see light in the window. Somebody might be home.
If this is a Little Red Riding Hood, then there's going to be a big bad wolf, right?
Oh, sir, have you seen my little granddaughter? She ventured to the town to buy food for me, but has not yet returned. I fear she may be in peril. The forest is not safe at night.
Oh, that's it?
Perhaps you should try locating the elderly woman's granddaughter before venturing back into the house.
Huh, okay. Oops. Alright, we can't go down, so let's I guess go look for her. I assume we don't want to go in here, but oops.
You saw black glow. You did not slow. Turned.
Okay. So where we need to go is in here. Into the swamp. But should we be looking for Riding Hood first? Or will we just encounter her here? Well, so alright, so this is poisonous, right?
The dark water looks foul, and it reeks of something even fouler. You strongly suspect that it may be tainted by poison.
Okay, so let's take the sugar cube.
After swallowing the magic sugar cube, you get a feeling of invincibility. You feel the poisonous water seeping into your skin. Its potency takes effect immediately, and you perish within seconds.
Alright, that's some invincibility that we've got there. I guess we will go find Riding Hood.
This pumpkin is somewhat larger than the others in the patch. There's not much.
Okay. Like, is she just in one of these screens?
The door of destiny now bears.
I don't have the flying thing anymore. Okay. I can't go up. So the only thing different that I see is the gnome's house. And I don't know if I can enter or not. I see these eyes everywhere.
You are traveling through Weirwood Forest. Trees and thick foliage surround you in all directions. To the southeast, you can just make out a door built into the side of a tree. What is this? There's a door built into the trunk of a large tree. It appears to be closed.
Oh, yeah.
You rap on the...
I mean, could we, like, break it down?
Brandishing your sword might make you appear... A stab in the dark. A stab in the light. Same effect. You think that this vial contains the potion of youth. This odd circular device intrigues you. It depicts several different symbols around its...
Okay, candle. What would we use a needle for?
You jab. There is no...
Let me go back to the church. I guess I could probably light the candle. Maybe? Could I light our candle on one of the other candles?
Finding the door unlocked and unbarred.
Okay. I'm just gonna try.
You can think of no immediate use for the candle, so you decide not to light it here.
Okay.
The monk is in deep prayer and does not respond to your words. Roust Odide, 9:43 to 10:11. As I landed on my head, I said I should have stayed in bed instead. Larman Ad Liat O'Malley Bridget O. Troublewater, 1248 to 1299. During the annual house inspection, she spied a mirror and its reflection. For days she lovingly gazed at it, unable to sleep or eat or sit. With the last of her earthly power, there she remained till her final hour. Faith Cinders, 998 to 1029. Alas, my dear, you've come too near to your heart's great desire. It seems that now you've run afoul and should not have lit that fire. Judas Morton, 1365 to 1415. Here lies a foolish non-believer, with shame deep as this hole. Even God, though wise and powerful, cannot save his wretched soul. This is the church. Coco Airbu. Hamish Bite, 1226 to 1258. Besides religious connotation, reverence paid daily as we should, it is a tradesman's irony that a carpenter was killed upon the wood. Le Fleur Povence, 905 to 987. The power brought unto this world is as unholy as this sage. Doomed are those that have descended from the blood of a first mage. Coco Air. This is the... This. You've never been terrible.
Okay.
This is the church. You read the... Something wicked started war. Shame nobody ever saw.
I don't know what that means. I feel like there's something here, but...
It is likely that only the most devout believers have been buried in there. You have about as much an inkling to enter the crypt as a fish has to walk.
Okay, so we don't want to go in there. I can't go to this side. I can't go to this side? It just seems weird to me that there would, like, there should be something to do here. Wait, hold
Finding
on.
the door.
What is this?
The collection box caters to those with money or valuables to show their support for the church.
Okay, I feel like I should probably put something in it.
This collection box is for money and valuables. Its contents are to be removed only by the monks.
Like, I could put some money in it.
You deposit a treasure into the collection box. The monk stirs, stands, and turns to face you.
I just lost a point for that.
Father, I go now to a place of darkness. While I am stout of heart, the path laid down before me is unclear. I seek only the knowledge that my passage be illuminated by heavenly favor, and a prayer that I may make it through.
The monk gives you a reassuring smile and pats you on the shoulder. He then lifts a silver cross from around his neck and places it in your hands.
Thank you.
You are welcome, my child.
You can talk?
Of course.
I thought monks were forbidden from speaking.
Not all churches follow the same rules, and this church is quite unique.
Really? How so?
The monk just smiles placidly at you. You place the silver cross and chain around your neck and wear it as a necklace.
Okay, but... Okay, so I started out with 98. What do I deposit in there? I don't want to get... Like, I lost a point when I deposited that.
It is a simple but carefully woven pendant of seagrass. A shiny opal dangles from it.
Maybe I could deposit that?
That would be of no value to the monks in this church.
I mean...
That would... Your crystal has become a dazzling emerald. That would be...
Okay, I'm back. Gavin needed help with this computer. Okay, let's see here. So, there's this donation box here, and we can get the monk to talk to us by putting something in it, but when we did that, I noticed I lost a point, and I don't want to lose points.
From the pulpit, the sermon is delivered.
That's a pulpit?
From the pulpit. Columns of pews line both sides of the church. You notice a Bible has been left at the end of one of the rows.
Can I sit?
There is no congregation in attendance, and there is no service being performed. You have no reason to sit down. Feeling humbled, you kneel down to pray. You rise again after a few moments. The monk stirs, stands, and turns to face you.
Father, I go now to a place of darkness. While I am stout of heart, the path laid down before me is unclear. I seek only the knowledge that my passage be illuminated by heavenly favor, and a prayer that I may make it through.
The monk gives you a reassuring smile and pats you on the shoulder. He then lifts a silver cross from around his neck and places it in your hands.
Thank you.
You are welcome, my child.
You can talk?
Of course.
I thought monks were forbidden from speaking.
Not all churches follow the same rules, and this church is quite unique.
Really? How so?
The monk just smiles placidly at you.
Well, it's closed all day long, and it's only open at night, remember? That's kind of weird.
You place the silver cross and chain around your neck and wear it as a necklace. It is a shiny silver cross dangling from a silver chain.
Notice how I said silver, silver, silver? Okay, well, anyways.
About this crucifix.
I believe you will find the cross to be of immense value. It has come to us at a huge price.
It was expensive?
I mean that it has cost us more than any value to be in possession of it.
So why would you just give it away?
If I may ask, why is it that you only open the church at dusk?
We find the late hours more favorable.
Well, surely then you would not have many in your congregation.
Yes, that is true.
What do you know of the Count?
Only that he is a heathen, a blasphemer. You serve God well by going there, my child. Bless you.
The monk smiles at you, turns back to the altar, kneels, and resumes his prayers.
Interesting. Okay. Does anything change here? No. Okay. Well, let's just... So from what I recall of the game, like the original King's Quest II, it was very simple. There was not all this backstory stuff or whatever's going on here, but the Count...
Without warning, a pair of wolves dart out of the dark forest and dash towards you.
Can I do anything?
For a minute there, you thought those wolves were going to attack. Curious as to why they didn't, you decide to follow them. You see the monk standing alone outside the church. Then you notice the two wolves approaching him. You are about to yell a warning to the monk, but the words die in your throat as the man steps forward and pats the wolves' heads.
No, my brothers. We must not hurt him. Not yet. He will go to the heathen's abode. He will do what needs to be done. What if he does not? Then, my brothers, we will complete the task before us. The one we began many years ago.
Whoa, okay. This game just took a turn for the dark. What is even going on right now?
You quickly move away from the church, your heart racing faster with every step. You have a good idea now what will happen once the moon comes out in full, and you do not want to be anywhere near here when it does. One thing's for sure, you're not getting married in that church.
Alright. So, this game just turned into Twilight, and now it's vampires versus werewolves.
There's no way you're going back in there. Perhaps you should try locating the elderly woman's granddaughter before venturing back into the house.
Okay, is she just like wandering around somewhere? That's...
You hear the sound of a child sobbing nearby. As you approach, you recognize the child. It is Possum, the little girl you helped earlier today.
Are you all right? What happened?
I went into town to buy some chicken soup for my grandma. I always try to reach home before dark, but this eve I lost my way and was attacked.
Attacked? A wolf attacked you?
No, not by a wolf, a dwarf.
For a moment, you're not sure that you heard correctly.
A dwarf, did you say?
Uh-huh. He jumped out at me, took my food, and then ran away.
Listen, I'm going to try to find this dwarf that you say stole your food. You get back to your grandma, understand?
Possum nods, says a soft thank you, and heads back home.
Well, maybe that's what we needed to trigger letting us get into the dwarf's house. Oh, it's right there. All right.
You rap on the treehouse door and wait a moment, but get no response.
Okay, now I seem to remember in the original one you had to like hide. Oh, well, there we go.
You watch as a little man runs out of the door, which has been built into a tree. You surmise that you have found the culprit's home. The vague aroma of chicken soup confirms it. That fiend.
What's it? Who does that? Okay, well, let's save our game, because if we get caught in there, we're going to die. Or he's going to steal all our stuff, too.
Finding the door ajar, you cautiously open it and step inside the tree. A very sharp knife has been stabbed into the table. Its blade reflects the light from the burning fire. That's not a knife. The knife you found under a rock one time? Now that was a knife.
Is a reference to King's Quest 1 there. So we don't want to take it?
That's not. The surface of these stumps is rough and uneven. You certainly wouldn't want to sit on them.
Okay, Gavin needs some help. I'm going to pause this real quick. Okay, Gavin's working on some some Minecraft stuff. Okay, here we go. And is learning some Photoshop as well and wanted some help. Okay, so we just want the soup? Is that it?
The elaborate display cabinet sitting to one side of the room looks heavy and expensive. You begin to wonder how the tiny dwarf managed to move it all the way down here by himself without damaging it. It is locked. The pictures, although lovely to look at, are totally useless to you. You suspect it to be very hot and wisely decide not to touch it.
Like, there's got to be something here besides just the soup, right?
Upon opening the trunk, you find a number of items that the dwarf has obviously stolen and stashed away. Among them are some gold coins. They display the distinctive face of the first king. They could only have come from the magic chest of Daventry.
Oh, good.
You close the chest. Those hats wouldn't fit you, fortunately. Moving the barrel would not be wise. Somebody might know that you were here. You notice the shelf is located quite high up on the wall for such a small dwarf. Then you see the barrel on the table, and things start to make sense. The dwarf must climb on it whenever he needs access to the shelf. There's nothing on the shelf except for knickknacks and junk, neither of which you need. You hear the sound of the door creaking, followed by someone descending the ladder in the next room.
Hide.
Thinking quickly, you hide in the trunk. The dwarf has entered his underground hovel. Hopefully, he won't discover you in here. You sense that the coast is clear again.
All right, well, that worked.
You close the chest.
All right, let's take the soup.
You grab the handle of the bubbling pot of chicken soup. You take it with you.
Okay, well, I clicked on everything else, and...
There is nothing under the rug except for dust. It looks like the door creaked open again after the dwarf left.
Well, good. Let's get the heck out of here.
You hear the latch fall into place again as the door closes behind you.
Well, hopefully we didn't miss anything there. Driver, come here.
You'll need to walk around the...
Oh, come on.
Welcome. Come in, please. Possum told me to expect you.
Isn't it in the story of Little Red Riding Hood, isn't Grandma supposed to be the wolf, though? There's all these other wolf things going around, maybe we give her the necklace or something like that.
The elderly lady is not interested in that.
Okay, I'll just give her the soup.
It is a little too cold to be serving to frail old ladies.
I'm rolling my eyes so hard.
You place the now cold chicken soup over the crackling fire once more. After it heats up to eating temperature, you remove it again. You offer the soup to Possum's grandma, introduce yourself, and wait courteously while the frail elderly lady eats the nourishing meal. When she is finished, she sets the empty bowl down elsewhere and turns her attention towards you.
If you would like to speak with me for a while, I would welcome your company. A person should never turn away a visitor, especially when she reaches the twilight of her life.
You can't help but feel a sense of finality in the old woman's words.
You must have something in return for your kindness. You do not need to risk your safety for an old, worn-out woman like myself. Look under the bed. You should find something to keep you a little warmer on a cold night like this.
You peer under the bed and find a thick black cloak. Lying atop it is a beautiful ruby-encrusted ring. You pick both up with reverence.
I could not possibly take these fine things from you.
Oh, please. I want you to have them. Nights in Kolyma are cold, believe me. As for the ring, well, perhaps it is better that I do not have it to remind me.
As you wish. You have a charming young granddaughter.
Grandma smiles at you graciously.
She is a treasure to me. I would do anything to ensure that no harm comes to her.
If I may inquire, what became of her parents?
Grandma frowns, and her eyes darken for a moment before she forces a melancholy smile to her face.
They were lost to us many years ago. I am afraid dear Possum never really knew her parents.
It must have been a daunting task raising a child by yourself, especially at your
age.
At my age? I am certainly not as young as I used to be, and there is no shame in that. I have tried to raise her as best I could, to keep her safe and well. However, I fear that as of late the reverse has become truer.
If you please, I was hoping you might tell me of the cloak and ring's origin.
The old woman closes her eyes as if the memory she seeks is painful to her senses.
They were my husband's. He was a proud man, the last of his line. His family had been rich, a great deal of old money, you might say. They lived in that castle you might have seen to the north. Its location upon that island is evidence of how much they valued their privacy. He was a good man, my husband. He took care of me. Certainly he had his strange habits. Most men do, if you will pardon me for saying so. I suspect that he practiced magic, so I could never catch him in the act. He would frequently journey afar, taking that black cloak with him wherever he went, to places he would not talk about. He said that it represented something important to a certain group of people, and that I was never to mention it to anyone. But he was always there for me, always, until that fateful night. We had been married just over a year, and I was heavy with child. We were both out walking in the weirwood forest late one night. The air was warm, and in our youth we paid little attention to the world and its many dangers. Besides, there was a full moon. We could see clearly enough. A shadow passed over us. We looked up, thinking it might have been a stray cloud. It was not. Descending upon us like a demon was the largest, most hideous bat I had ever seen. Its fangs were bared, and it dove straight for me. I must have screamed. My husband flung himself in front of me to protect me. He swung his arms about frantically in hopes of warding the horrid thing away. Perhaps he was trying to cast a spell, but could not recall how in his panic. It paid him no heed and would not be deterred. It swooped again and again relentlessly. At one point, my husband's hand must have clipped the bat's wing because it lost control and crashed into his shoulder. He tried to wrest the foul creature away, but then he shrieked suddenly. The horrid thing had bitten him. He never did recover from that incident. He just faded with each passing hour. Within 2 days of the attack, my husband had died. We buried him on his family's plantation on the island. Sometimes when I sleep, I can feel him watching over me, guarding me, protecting me. I think he is waiting for my time to come so we can be together always.
The old lady seems to be dozing off. You can barely hear her final words.
I miss him so.
Telling the story has clearly taken a great deal out of her. You watch the old woman a moment and notice her labored breathing as she sleeps. Despite the little girl's tireless daily efforts, perhaps there's nothing more to be done. The elderly lady has fallen asleep. You have no desire to wake her. The little girl is sound asleep. Do not wake her. A chest of drawers sits by the bed.
If this was a Quest for Glory game, this is where I would steal everything in the drawers.
It's not polite to search through other people's drawers. You should know better than that, Graham. There's no time for sitting around, Graham. That would burn. You feel as if you could curl up on the mat like a cat. Then remind yourself that you have an important task ahead of you.
Okay, well...
The black cloak would fit a taller man than you. The ring is gold with an enormous red ruby. The word beloved is engraved inside the gold band. With a flourish, you fling the black cloak around your neck and fasten it.
Oh yes, it looked like Count Dracula, Graham.
You are now wearing the beautiful ruby ring.
Oh, can I wear the earrings and the brooch too?
The color of the brooch clashes with your outfit. Better leave it off.
Okay. Okay, well, I think I know what we're going to do next, so let's just save it here. It's been about 45 minutes, so let's call this one an end to the episode, and in the next one we're going to try to go to that castle and see what we can do. All right, well, thank you for joining me, and I will see you in the next episode. Have a good day.